For those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get to the other stuff here in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, vibe. Smiled yesterday, now would be the perfect time to do so. Immediately. It's about that time for you to open up your ear and let me cross into your mind one time. And you just might like it, because knowledge is powerful. So I'm powerfully priceless. Shout out to all my Pisces moons out there. Y'all should already know I'm doing it for us. And doing it well. Shout out to all my Libra risings too. My Mars and Capricorns. I'm killing it for us too. And now when it comes to being Venus and Leo, I'm the king of it. What it was. Y'all already know who it is. And if not, like I said, just call me that. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight, man. And what this also is just another deep dive into the intricacies that are you. And what I mean by that is this right here. This a little something about the major aspects between the moon and Mars in your natal chart. And understand that I said major aspects. That means I'm talking about oppositions, conjunctions, squares, trines, inconjunctions or quincunxes, which is what inconjunctions are referred to these days, and sextiles. That means I'm not talking about semi-sextiles or semi-squares or sesquadrats or quintiles or biquintiles. I'm not talking about the declinations, which is what the contraparallels and the parallels are all about. I'm not talking about your YOD or your stellium or your kite or your grand trine. Not today. Now, first, we're going to stick to the basics, all right? So before I get into the depth of the aspect, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the moon. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Mars, and we'll give a quick breakdown of the energy that comes along with Mars and how it might affect you. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination and eventually a climax. And fortunately for you, you tuned in with one of the coldest closers in the game. So without wasting any more time, let's talk about the moon. So the moon, this is how you feel inside. And being the closest celestial body in relation to Earth, it has the strongest effect on our moods and personality on a day-to-day basis. So, as I told y'all, when we're looking at aspects, and which is what we're talking about right now, The aspects that the sun make are the most prominent aspects in your chart. But when we're talking about placements, the moon sign is the most important placement in your chart. And that's coming from me. All right. Now, when we're talking about the ascendant, that is the most significant point in your chart. You understand, those all have 3 different definitions. That's the most significant point. That's the most important placement. Those are the most prominent aspects. All right. So just keep that in mind. And so the moon, it's who you are inside. Okay. It can speak to your family experiences that you have. And it can say a lot of the relationship that you had with your mom. But I've also seen the moon point to the dad. It really just points to the more nurturing parent. All right. Either way it goes, the moon has a lot to do with how you feel. It's how you process your emotions. When you're talking about the house placement of the moon, this is the things that you do to make you feel comfortable. Okay. This is the things that you like to do in order to gain an equilibrium in life. All right. So it's always worth paying attention to. Now, when we're talking about Mars, this is your passion. This is your drive. This is your inherent sense of determination. This can be your sex drive in some instances. Okay. This is what makes you go. This is how you go. Okay. Your Mars sign, this shows the type of energy that you're working with. All right. Now, your Mars can also show where you have conflict in life. Okay. Because Mars shows our sense of aggression. It shows our sense of assertion. Okay. It's your preferred method of action. The moon is your emotional nature. Mars is your preferred method of action. Okay. This is your immediate reaction. The moon has a lot to do with that too. Understand that. The moon is your instinct. Mars is your immediate reaction. So a lot of the times they can go hand in hand sometimes. You understand? Especially for me, because my Mars is in the 4th house. Understand? So I definitely understand that moon conjunct Mars shit going on, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. That doesn't mean that I have moon conjunct Mars, because thank God I don't. Okay. I actually don't have any major aspects going on between my moon and Mars, thank God. But I will say this though. Mars, man, it can be a motherfucker, but if you know how to work with it, it's also extremely powerful if channeled into the appropriate areas. That's how you get shit done. Okay. So when we're looking at moon conjunct to Mars in the natal chart, the first thing to understand about people with this aspect going on is they are hot-blooded in every sense of the phrase. And what I mean by that is these are those uniquely passionate people who always seem to kind of be simmering to a certain degree right there on that surface. And while that can definitely be sexy as fuck, it can also be dangerous as fuck too, best believe. Cause these folks feel everything so motherfucking raw that they kind of tend to give immediate emotional responses to everything. And that of course is a lot to deal with in life. And either way you look at it, that's something they're going to have to deal with, because that's kind of is what it is with this one right here. Because having moon conjunct to Mars means having a considerable amount of energy and initiative at your disposal, but also always being confronted with the fact and the possibility that shit could get away from you at any second. Like you could lose control. For real, that shit could be gone just like that and you be in some trouble because, oh man. Everything is raw right here. There ain't no in between with this, man. And, this right here is hypersensitivity and excitability in its highest form, period. So because of that, these are those brave and spontaneous people who are always dealing with a certain inherent pressure to perform and prove themselves on a certain personal level. And so a lot of the times they're going to come across as either extremely brash and abrasive or extremely defensive. All right. One of the two. But the term I really like to use for these folks right here is ready. Is ready. Back in the day, they might say froggy. But these days, I would say ready. Okay. Cause these folks right here, they are ready for whatever and they down for it too. Because there's just a certain fearless straightforwardness that comes with this conjunction that's unmistakable. And also understand that while these are extremely passionate and protective people, that especially about the people they care about, understand that Mars is passion. It's that inner fire. It's that drive. It's the fight in you. And then the moon is the nurturing part of you. So those two parts of yourself are coming together to form something completely different altogether. And so while these are extremely protective people, understand they're not going to be patting people on the back and holding their hand. That's not what they're about. No, they're way too self-absorbed and brushed for the gentle approach. That shit just don't fit for Moon conjunct to Mars. Okay. Cause with these folks right here, it's all about going hard or going home, period. Okay. And they want to encourage people to do so. But it ain't about, pity patting you along. No. This is fire. This is fire. And speaking of which, do not ever let me leave out the fact that these are some of the most sexual people that you will ever come across in the whole motherfucking world. Period, man. And not only that, they're also some of the most spontaneous and physically resilient people that you're going to meet too. So if you can't handle the heat, it's best that you just stay out the kitchen. You might as well just stay out the kitchen all the way around, man, because their passion will consume you. And hell, it can consume them too. But they know that and they're okay with it because that's a part of who they are, man. For real, man. And, lastly, be advised, with Moon conjunct Mars, there is a hair trigger temper that comes along with this one. So, always be mindful of your approach when dealing with these folks, man, because making sure that you're coming across the right way with them could definitely be advantageous to your health. And I will say this though, the beautiful part of it all with Moon conjunct Mars is as fast as they get mad, they're going to get over it twice as fast. And they're not the type to hold grudges at all. So if you can just hold out on that initial smoke, it usually will blow over and they'll be past it and they'll be on to some next shit. All right. And, just understand right here. This is passion personified. This is somebody right here who is fearless in their heart. Fearless in their desire. And that can be amazing or it can be too much. It all depends on how they play. All right. And so on the other end of this, with Moon opposite to Mars, hey, this is where you're going to get those precocious and animated ass motherfuckers who project a certain brash aggressiveness that in all actuality is really just a defense mechanism that's trying to hide the fact that their skin just ain't quite as thick as they like people to believe it should be. And, it's like for them, the best defense is a good offense. And unfortunately, a lot of times that doesn't do shit but cause more problems because their own inner tension and unresolved issues kind of tends to get projected out into their interactions with other people, which then results in a whole bunch of conflicts and extra shit in their life. And so until they come to terms, man, for real, man, until they come to terms with the nature of their own excitability, it's going to be bad because even the smallest, most trivial shit is going to turn into an energy-filled confrontation. And, speaking of energy, man, these people right here tend to have so much that it's real hard for them to ever feel very comfortable sitting still. And then it also makes mundane and routine shit damn near unbearable for them to involve themselves in for a long amount of time. And that also goes to their relationships. And that attitude and that nature of theirs can wreak havoc until they mature and find some type of outlet, man. Okay. And, not only that shit that they have going on coupled with their attitude is going to make it damn near unbearable for people to deal with them. So finding an appropriate outlet for all that aggression and emotional energy is going to be key to their development in life. And they're just going to have to find a way to calm the fuck down instead of having that erraticism and hypersensitivity play out in their relationships, or have them themselves seeking out situations that could have them, involved in all kinds of fucked up and dangerous shit, man. And just realize that all in all, this is just about dealing with their deeper issues so that it doesn't cause superficial conflicts that keep them from living an unfulfilled life. All right? Because until they deal with their deeper shit, there's going to be constant conflicts on the surface that keep them from doing what they need to do. So deal with that. And so now, when we're talking about Moon trine to Mars, this is where it gets good, y'all. Because this is where we encounter those awesome individuals who are both powerfully passionate and emotional, but they also kind of know how to handle their shit all the time too. That's like a superpower in their self. And actually, in all honesty, with the trine, these people are masters at channeling all that energy into constructive channels. So what would usually be way too much to handle for most just ends up adding more energy to their personal repertoire right here. And, hey, this can put them in all types of advantageous situations, and it just makes them all the more powerful. So instead of causing issues, it then just becomes power. And then when you look at things from a more carnal perspective with Moon trine to Mars, oh man, these are those intensely sexual people who both know how to work that ass out and make you feel it for real. So, yeah, that's the truth right here. That's the best case scenario. But when you look at it from the worst case scenario, with Moon square to Mars, this is where it gets fucked up. All right? Because this is where you encounter some really fucked up, selfish and self-centered people sometimes who are kind of hell-bent on getting their own way regardless of how the fuck it affects other people in their life in the process. And if that ain't it, there's also this other dynamic where, these people let their instincts and their emotional needs come into conflict with their will for action, which then leaves them feeling fucked up, confused, and frustrated, which in turn kind of causes them to take it out on other people, which then only makes it more fucked up and causes more conflict until they stop denying the moon and start finding a way to channel that Mars in a productive and constructive way. Period. And, this is also all about learning how to think before you act with Moon square to Mars. Learning about not getting yourself into trouble because you done tripped the fuck out. Okay? And the last thing I want to say about this on a side note, this is something that I've observed, okay, in a lot of charts. All right? And this doesn't have to be absolute though. But this could also speak to somebody who doesn't have a right relationship with feminine energy. Either that part of themselves makes them uncomfortable, so they project uber aggressiveness, or, there's something that happened when they were younger that made them disrespectful of that part of themselves or that part of other people that makes them want to run over people that are coming at them, with a soft and receptive manner. All they understand is conflict. All they understand is battle. All they understand is a fight. And unfortunately, that's something that they're going to have to get past. And so the thing is, they're going to have to get through that conflict in self in order to be able to work through whatever conflicts they have outside in their life. And then with Moon sextile to Mars. Okay. Hey man, this is where you get people who are both ardent lovers and enthusiastic lovers of life, man. And they're just fucking brave and prepared to fight for the things they believe in life. And they're also self-assertive and they're builders and they're doers, but they also got to be mindful because all that energy and emotion can still get away from them sometimes with the sextile, especially if they ever feel cornered or if they feel challenged in a way that's disrespectful to them. So this is just about understanding who you are, what you're capable of, and how you feel about certain situations without aggressively thrusting yourself onto people. All right. And it ain't hard. Just keep it under wraps when you can. And then with Moon quincunx or in conjunct to Mars. Okay, this is where you're going to see people whose feelings and desires cover such a fucking wide range of expression that they're just going to have a hell of a time dealing with the swings between it all. So they're going to just kind of stay mildly fucking irritated all the motherfucking time. And then they start taking offense to everything, whether it was intended that way or not, man. So this right here with Moon in conjunct or quincunx to Mars is just about learning to observe your own feelings before reacting. Because a lot of the times, these folks right here are reacting way more to their own inner tension than they are to the outside stimulation or conflict that's going on. So, hey, man, with this one, man, this is just about constantly checking your energy and realizing what your buttons and triggers are. So you're never putting yourself in all those situations where people are constantly pressing and pulling on those buttons and triggers. Okay. Because at the end of the day, with Moon quincunx to Mars, man, people are kind of just wasting precious energy and giving away their power when they're allowing their reactions to be so easily manipulated by situations and by other folks. All right? Just remember that. But either way it goes, you don't have to believe a word I just said. Because the truth of the matter is, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean by that is we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. If you fuck with me on any level, you should have already hit the like button. And it's not too late. You can hit it right now. And in doing so, understand that it's not for my ego. It's for the algorithm. All right? I got plenty of ego on my own. You feel me? This is just about helping me expand the platform. All right? And understand that if you're looking for any astrological readings whatsoever, you can hit me up in the comments below, but I'm just going to direct you to my email, which is mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And that's actually my preference. If you want something done, hit me up there. All right? And I give immediate responses most of the time. And if you're looking for any merch, do the same thing. But realize that I'll sell you all the merch you want. And you'll probably look all right in it. But the truth of the matter is, this type of swag I got, it's got to be in you and not on you. So let me put it in you.